Low-code, no-code software is beginning to dominate the way in which we digitize organizations. But what does the future hold for low-code software and where will the employment opportunities be? We'll be discussing all of that today on the Digital Lounge. Welcome to the brand new show from Crimson, where we aim to connect together people and technology to accelerate digital transformation. And joining me today is Ollie and Lou from Crimson. Thank you both for joining us on this pilot episode of Digital Lounge. How's your week been?
Not too
Ollie?
bad. Yeah, very good. Yeah, pretty
Good,
good. Yeah.
good stuff. This is all really
Thanks,
new.
Mark.
Really new technology. Well, thank you for joining us. I know you're both really busy, and we've got a lot to cover off today. Ollie, if I can turn to you first, just for the benefit of our viewers, really, how would you define what low code, in particular Microsoft technology, is, and its benefits, and maybe some of the shortcomings today of that type of technology?
Yeah, sure, absolutely, Mark. So, what is low code? So, low code is a kind of it's a development approach. So, it's a software development approach where, rather than being able to go into the gubbins and know sort of a coding language and be able to build from the ground up business applications and develop on those, it's more of a sort of a graphical user interface, WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get, drag and drop type approach to rapidly developing applications. And obviously Microsoft are leaders in this space with their low-code, no-code application platform called the Power Platform, which is made up of a load of applications and tool sets to allow this stuff to happen.
Do you see sort of shortcomings at the moment where you see the future filling some of those gaps?
Yeah, I do. I think it's not early days of low code, no code. I mean, low code has been around for a long time, and there's always been quite a number of shortcomings to that. And it's really around sort of the problem solving element of it, where you have the ability to very quickly solve a business solution by digitalizing that. But the downside is that you do need a lot of prior knowledge around solution architecture. There's always been that issue with on-premise access and also mobility. So if you're thinking about building an application, usually they're usually in either a laptop or a certain sort of desktop approach. Whereas now, where we're going to start to see this, that people will be able to build applications once for multiple devices, and having that flexibility of where you're actually going to be using this the things that you're going to be building. So that's going to be really useful.
Fantastic. Louise, you head up Crimson's recruitment team. As Ollie's mentioned, low code isn't a new concept. It's been around for a while now. Are you seeing some sort of trends emerging in the marketplace around low code, no code from our customers?
It has been slow and steady. I will agree it has been around for a while now, and a lot of companies and customers that we work with have started to wake up to the concept of actually allowing almost novice beginner technologists to enable more customization of some of the stuff they do in terms of development, or using sort of more quick, much more effective low code, no code to help, I suppose, drive quite quick solutions. But there is still, I should say, a high demand for full stack developers in the market, which are few and far between. And customers are struggling to, I think, get their head around the fact that they don't necessarily always need a full stack developer to support some of their business applications. However, they're still struggling to know how to best integrate the low code, no code approach to their day-to-day business as usual.
And it remains a competitive, difficult market, and I would imagine you're seeing challenges around recruiting the right type of people and retaining them. What advice are you giving to customers around that?
Absolutely. My advice to a customer is there is absolutely still going to be a need to bring on board specialist full stack developers to help support a customer's journey, especially with quite complex project strategic development. However, and architecture, like Ollie said. However, customers who can embrace now the idea of potentially upskilling people within their business, not necessarily needing to pay over the odds for developers when they actually could use their own current employees to actually build some of these applications using the likes of Microsoft Power platforms, etc., and other products. It is something that I think is starting to take hold.
Yeah, I mean, in my simplistic terms, I see it almost like years ago. When you needed a letter writing in a company, you'd have a secretarial pool creating letters for you and things like that. Whereas we're used to using Word now. Ollie, do you see a future where we'll all be sort of developers in some way, where we're all able to create applications? Is that where we're headed to?
I absolutely hope so. I really do. I think this is the next evolution that we're really seeing, and businesses that have that business development approach to all of the things that they're doing are going to be the winners in this market. If you think about it, Foresters have got a couple of sort of statistic and estimates that they throw out around 2024. By the time we get there, developers outside of formal IT department will probably account for about 80% of the applications that we will be building. That's not to say that there's still a lot to be done for the professional developers for those business critical systems. But we're trying to get closer to technology and trying to get closer to that sort of hyper automation that allows us to not have to spend so much time. Your example about generating and writing those letters as a PA, there's far more valuable things humans can do. Give that sort of boring stuff to the technology. Absolutely.
Yeah. And just to add to that, it's about enabling the employees within an organization to be tech enabled. So actually by applying low code, to their ways of working, which is effectively sort of drag and dropping sort of various bits into a pot to say, right, that's what I want to buy. That's what I want to be able to do using graphic user interface, etc. It should be quite straightforward, a bit like being in a basket when you're shopping for, your house or your summer wardrobe type thing. It should become as easy as that for employees.
Fantastic. Where does that leave us, Ollie? I mean, we're a Microsoft partner, so what do we do with our days?
Yeah, really good question. Really good question. Are we sat there, quaking our boots, thinking, "Oh, crikey, all the business, all of our customers are just going to start developing for themselves, and they're not going to need, the specialisms that we bring." And that's absolutely not. For the same reasons as what Lou was saying around, we're always going to be needing developers and specialist people around technology. It's going to be even more important, right? So rather than Crimson going in and asking the business, okay, what do you want to build? We'll go and build it. And there you go, fantastic. You can have that back and go play with it. Our role will become business transformation consultants, where we go in there and we advise, knowing of our specialist skills and knowing the marketplace and how close we are with the likes of Microsoft on the best approaches and how to do these things, and absolutely augment into the areas of their IT team that need their assistance and need to sort of produce things at scale. For those business critical apps, I would always say, trust the experts to do that. But for those productivity elements, let's give this power back to the people.
Yeah, you're always going to need the specialization, aren't you, Ollie? And this is all about just simplifying the process. And as a consultancy, you're there to advise customers where they should put their focus and what they can do almost self-sufficiently in order to then allow for more time to be spent developing the complex business solutions and enabling their business to really, truly be leading edge as they want it to be.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry, go on, Mike.
Sorry, Louise, I was going to say, I mean, there's a real onus on continuous learning and development here. I mean, the pace is only getting faster. We can all see that. Are you seeing any trends with our customers and how they're maybe approaching that sort of learning and development?
Well, a bit like how Ollie was explaining, I think the sort of more old-fashioned or traditional ways of doing things in old, for customers in the past. I think what we're starting to see is customers recognizing that some of the core skills, such as business analysis, project management, as well as testing and coding roles within their organization, are starting to change ever so slightly, and how people apply themselves or the skills they're looking to recruit on the market may not necessarily be as traditionally aligned to what they would have recruited for, and there may be an opportunity to have more customer oriented, inquisitive, curious skill sets coming through, which are almost not as technical, however allow for more customization of that requirement for the customer's piece. So I think organizations will still need a lot of the traditional skill sets, but it will hopefully allow for more development of people and retention, because they'll have a natural journey that they'll be able to evolve their own skill set and not have to move elsewhere to find other opportunities. They'll be able to evolve within the organization they're working for. But equally, from a retention and bringing candidates into a new organization, there's an opportunity for organizations to really broaden and diversify, if you like, where they find their talent from.
Yeah, diversity, inclusion. That was what I was thinking as you were sort of explaining that. Sounds like a massive opportunity, and
yeah, huge.
Soft skills must be incredibly important in this new world. Well, Ollie, what does this sort of world look like in terms of collaboration between the business and the people developing the apps? Is it a different type of skill set?
I think it is a different type of skill set. I think that there's a couple of things on this one. The first one is, when we're thinking about application development, it's going to be more like application assembly and integration, where you're actually assembling components that have been pre-built either by the industry experts or by your IT team, and you're going to need to know the skills and the understanding to be able to assess which components are going to be best for your part of the business, your process, or your pain point that you're trying to resolve. And the flip side is making sure that you're really up to scratch on the best way of adopting to these new technologies and tools and technologies, so that your business can run at pace and change at pace. So change and adoption is going to be huge in this area, and making sure that you're not leaving anybody behind in the digital revolution that you're going to go through. So yeah, those two areas are going to be absolutely critical.
And on that point as well, just to add, I think the whole piece around resource optimization as a whole, organizations will invest much more time in ensuring that their optimization of their resources is so much more focused and better spent, so that, like Ollie said, change management and project management and that optimization piece will become necessary and apparent for success.
Fantastic. Well, I know that we've got a whole set of services that we call Paragon, which address some of these questions. Can you sort of describe to the audience, Ollie, what that entails, I suppose?
Yeah, sure. So Paragon services, we've seen this change in the marketplace, and we've seen a number of our customers ask that very similar questions about, well, okay, this is great, Ollie, but how do we get to self-sufficiency, and what are the type of things that we need to focus on? So we came up with a set of service lines called Paragon Services. It's actually a framework, so we call it the Paragon Service Framework, and that is a number of assessments and tools and service lines to enable us to work out whereabouts you are on your journey, work about and understand your maturity in terms of adopting to low-code, no-code platforms, and give you a vision around potential technology operating model or target operating model, which sort of spans the traditional topics. So you've got what technology is going to be using and how, the processing involved in that technology and how that works for your business, as well as the people and adoption, how the people are going to be best served, and what type of roles you're going to need within IT and within the business to drive this transformation forward. So we've come up with Paragon Framework, and it is a set of service lines that we have some really good experts being able to deliver some of this stuff and add value. What's really good is we've got a great background within Microsoft, who, as I said before, have got a leading low-code, no-code platform called the Power Platform, and there's a couple of tool sets which Microsoft give us to play with, that enable using the low-code platform to be able to govern its own platform, which is absolutely fantastic. And we've got some service lines dedicated to that too.
And from your perspective, Louis, I mean, this is a really interesting combination in that we've got our recruitment and knowledge around people and employability. So how does that come into the mix from your side, do you see?
Sure. I think for a long time now, a lot of organizations that both Ollie and I, and customers that both Ollie and I work with, have struggled to often link together at the right time, both the resource requirements and the people side to the solutions required. So often, there's a business problem and they're really keen to drive the right solution forward, but without consideration of the team that needs to land the solution, or the adoption of that solution, or the user acceptance and the ongoing onboarding and integration of it. Often solutions can fall flat and not necessarily deliver on point. And by investing, I suppose, our services as part of this framework into a customer's journey, making sure that in order to land the solution in the best possible way, so it absolutely hits the mark with regards to affecting their business enablement, by working with them on their people resources, their skills assessment, identifying opportunities for where they may need to hire, and anticipating how and what timescales and what roadmap they might need to be able to consider, and bringing in all the procurement elements necessary there, along with identifying whether there are opportunities to actually develop people within their own organization and upskill, or potentially bring people in to act as kind of short-term trainers and associates to really help them to enable that. So there's a whole opportunity for customers to really develop their own workforce to fit for purpose, to support a solution for their digital journey, but equally allowing them to really give their people something back, so they really feel that they're not just moving forward so quickly all the time, and they're really investing in their teams as well. Whether that's bringing new people into the organization that people can be coaching and mentoring and sharing knowledge and transferring knowledge to, or whether that's needing to bring new specialists into the organization, they're going about it in a lot more of a sort of thorough and well-considered way.
Ollie, in terms of, it would be remiss of me not to talk about AI when it comes to the future. And, there's a lot going on at the moment with ChatGPT. And in fact, on our next show, we're talking about Microsoft Copilot. Where does all that fit into low code, no code moving forward?
Fits in perfectly, Mark. Fits in perfectly.
Okay.
It really does, and I think if you think about the marketplace at the moment for low-code platforms, back in 2020 it was about 13 billion. By 2027, you're probably looking at about 45 billion in terms of a market revenue. So you can see that this is big business. And what comes with that comes with, all of the newest things that happen within technology, AI being front and center about the next evolution. And what's really important is that when you're thinking about AI, there has been so many advancements so recently, because you're now into the world of generative AI. Generative AI means that if you provide the system some elements of information, it can generate additional content and specialist content for you. Now, if you think about that from a low-code, no-code developer perspective, you could sit there and have a spreadsheet full of data, and using a Copilot engine with all of its knowledge and all of its large language model effects, you could actually have that create an application for you that would be near enough, a good application to be able to surface for that spreadsheet. Not to say that, it's not going to be perfect. You still need a consideration about, some solution architecture, the best way, some performance possibly. But if you think about the minimizing the route into low code and application development, Copilot's going to be the absolute key, not only just for building what I've just said then, but also whilst you're using the application. So if you think about it, it's basically having your best friend on your shoulder that's probably a genius in everything that you're doing in terms of your data. And as you're working through your day-to-day life, you can ask it questions and it will automatically know all of the things about your data, the situation, bringing in other data sources to be able to give you a much, much bigger picture about the things that you're doing. And that fundamentally is AI and Copilot in a nutshell. It's going to enhance what you're going to be doing on a day-to-day with productivity and use. So yeah, it's going to be good.
Wow. I think that's a good place to end. I like the idea of having a genius on my shoulder. I think I could certainly do with one of those for most days. Ollie, Lou, I really appreciate your time. Thank you both for joining me on today's show. As I say, next time we're aiming to run these shows every couple of weeks. We'll see how we get on with that. Today was a pilot show. I'm really keen to get your views on what you liked about the show, what you'd like to see more in the future, what you'd like to see less. This is definitely a learning experience for us. On the next show, we are going to be interviewing the team about a bit more about Microsoft Copilot. You heard a little bit there from Ollie already. But we're also going to be looking at Microsoft Fabric. There's an awful lot of stuff coming down the line from Microsoft at the moment that we want to share. So with that, we'll leave it there for today. We hope you've enjoyed it. This was the Digital Lounge.